Okay, so let's uncover this mystery of how good the Toronto Maple Leafs actually are. And the reason why I call it a mystery is because, as we all know, the Leafs only get to play six other teams this year, and all the other teams are only playing in their divisions as well. So we're not really going to know exactly how good they would truly be in a full season. But I'm just here to uncover, are the Toronto Maple Leafs really this good, and could they sustain this even in a full regular season against all the other teams? So this is Sheldon Keefe's first full year as a head coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And for Keefe, he's been doing a really good job so far. And for Toronto, they have this way of defending where they hold on to the puck a lot, and they're a lot more aggressive in the offensive zone, and they hold on to pucks so that if you don't have it, you can't score on them, obviously. But not only that, I find the Leafs structure in their own end this season as well, when they don't have the puck on their sticks, is a lot better than in years past. They just look a lot more controlled. There's not a lot of second and third opportunities in front of their net as there were in years past under Mike Babcock. And for Leaf fans, that's got to be a really welcome sight. So let's look at some of their top scorers for this year. And Mitch Marner leads the way through 26 games played for him, 10 goals, 24 assists, 34 points. Obviously, I believe Austin Matthews might be ahead of him had he played a full season so far. He's only missed a couple games, but who knows, that could have made a difference. For Matthews in 23 games, 18 goals, 13 assists, 31 points. Tavares in 26 games, 8 goals, 14 assists, 22 points. William Nylander through 26 games, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points. And I just want to look at that for a little bit, is because William Nylander gets dumped on so much by Leaf fans, sometimes rightfully so, but I think Leaf fans are a little too hard on him, in my opinion. And not just because I'm a William Nylander fan and I'm a little bit biased towards him, but I do think Leaf fans are hard on him nonetheless. But you look at Tavares, only has 2 more points than Nylander so far. A guy who makes $4.3 million roughly more than William Nylander does, and Nylander's pretty close to him in the points category. Morgan Rielly, 26 games played, 3 goals, 16 assists, 19 points. Jason Spezza through 25 games, 5 goals, 11 assists, 16 points. Jason Spezza really looks like he fits well in Toronto, and maybe not as much last season just with the whole saga of the Mike Babcock thing and them not playing him. I find Jason Spezza in Toronto under Sheldon Keefe looks really good, and he's looked as good as he has in I don't know how many years. He hasn't looked this good in a while. I remember in Dallas his last couple years, I believe, he was really not playing well at all. And now he's looking like the Jason Spezza. I'm not going to say the Jason Spezza of old, because that's a bit of a stretch, let's be honest. But he has been looking really good in Toronto, though, nonetheless. Zach Hyman rounds out the top 7 scorers for the Leafs. I only numbered the top 7 here. 24 games played, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points. He is more of a blue-collar, hard-working type of forward, but he has shown definitely that he can chip in offensively. But now let's get to the goaltending. So through 18 games for Frederik Andersen, 12 wins, 4 losses, 2 overtime losses, 2.68 goals against average, 906 save percentage. Solid numbers for Andersen, but it gets even more solid for the next 2 Leaf goaltenders. Michael Hutchinson. Okay, I just want to say this. Hutchinson's a guy who was really dumped on a lot by Leaf fans, and I mean a lot, and sometimes rightfully so, but with that being said, Hutchinson was hung out to dry a lot by not only the Leafs players, but also Mike Babcock too, putting him in situations against pretty good teams that, Hutchinson's been good this year. Maybe you don't want to put him in against some really high caliber teams like Boston and teams he was facing like that on back-to-backs last season. But Hutchinson has proven he can be a really solid backup option for the Leafs this season if need be. But who else has been really solid is Jack Campbell. 3 games played, 3 wins, 1.33 goals against average, 951 save percentage. Campbell's numbers have been off the chart, and I know that he's only played 3 games. It's very, very small, the amount of games he's played, small sample size. So for Campbell, though, I think it is somewhat sustainable. Not those type of numbers, but he is a very more than adequate backup option for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And just the way the Leafs are defending so much better this year also makes these numbers look better for their goaltending. And I've always said the Leafs have cup-winning goaltending, cup-winning forwards. Their defense group, as far as a 6-man unit, was kind of iffy. They fixed that up a lot this past offseason. And now the way they play defense as a 5-man unit is a whole lot better than what it was before, and it gets them much closer to a championship level. As far as being championship caliber in a full 82-game season and against everyone in the league too, for that matter, I mean, Toronto, while they are first in the league right now, the question is, and I think it's a big question, would they be this good in a normal season where they're playing all the teams? Maybe not even an 82-game season. Let's say 56 games, but they're playing all the other teams. My answer is maybe not first in the league exactly, but I think they would definitely be in the top 5 just because I see the way the Leafs play, and I've watched some of their games this season, and what I've observed is that they have a very sustainable formula for success. It's not like they have this good of a record and they're just getting pounded on the shot clock every night. And Frederik Andersen or Jack Campbell or Michael Hutchinson, all three of them for that matter, have to stand on their heads and just be otherworldly and in order to give the Leafs a chance to win. I mean, that has not been the case at all. So for Toronto, their formula for success is more than sustainable. And while it's tough to say for sure whether they would be number 1 in the league overall in a regular year, I think they would definitely be right up there, and they would definitely be one of the teams to beat. And I just want to circle back on Auston Matthews. I mean, this guy has become absolutely out of this world for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he's got 18 goals, 13 assists, 31 points. I believe he's been held goalless in his first 2 or 3 games back from injury. But for Auston Matthews, he was playing with a banged up wrist for a little while, and I don't know how long it was, but he put up still a lot of goals even with a banged up wrist. And if he's doing that with that injury, an injury that affects his shooting of the puck ability, I mean, that's pretty scary to think how good he could actually be, and I have tons of respect for this guy, what he's playing through right now. If you're Toronto, maybe you want to wait for that wrist, sit him out, wait for that wrist to heal for, I don't know, however long it takes to heal, because you don't want him going into the playoffs with a banged up wrist, and then he's not really going to be 100% and be able to help you to the best of his abilities that he could if he waited for his wrist to heal. Now, the Leafs have been, a very skilled team now for the last 3 to 4 years, I would say, and they've been somewhat hard to play against throughout most of the regular seasons that they've played over that stretch of time. I find they're way more hard to play against at a way more consistent level now under Coach Keefe, because he just has this team forechecking so hard. They hold on to pucks in the offensive zone. Toronto plays a bit of a unique style. Like when they don't like what they see, if they're regrouping or something on a change and they don't like what they see, they're not going to rush the puck up the ice. I found under Babcock, they tried to rush it up the ice. And maybe that's not always your best option. It's good for you to take it back sometimes. If you like what you see, move it up ice. And that's exactly what Toronto's doing, and they're playing a system, and they have a formula in place that's really working for them. And I think that, they could potentially do some damage this year. And I think they could potentially do some damage even if we were talking a regular year as well. Even though the Joe Thorton and Wayne Simmons signings have not worked out as they hope, not because Thornton and Simmons have been bad when they've been in the lineup. I just want to get that straight. Those two guys have been absolutely great when they've been in it. But the reason why I say they haven't necessarily worked out is just because, unfortunately for Thornton and Simmons, those two have battled injuries greatly this year. I believe both of them are out right now. Simmons was out for like a while, or he's going to be out for a while, like 6 weeks long or something like that. But for both of them, if they're in the lineup too, I mean, that makes Toronto that much better. But Kyle Dubas, as much as he's been maligned throughout the hockey world and, his kind of new age way of thinking and new age way of building a team, and he's taken a lot of heat for it, but you know what? Good on Dubas to stick to his guns. He stuck to what he believes in, what he believes helps you win a championship, and has he been vindicated yet? I mean, no, absolutely not. Toronto hasn't done anything yet in the playoffs, but if Toronto even gets to a cup final, they're probably going to have to get to at least a cup final this year just because, making it out of the Canadian division won't be as big of a deal if they got to the third round as it would be if they did it in a normal year where they're facing, their boogeyman in Boston, for example, or a really hard team, the Stanley Cup champions in Tampa Bay. So obviously it wouldn't get as much praise from the media in a year like that. But Dubas has really stuck to his guns, and he's really showing now that, yeah, this team could potentially do some damage going forward. My thoughts on the Toronto Maple Leafs and what I think they could do even in a full season. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, especially if you're a Leafs fan. I'd like to hear from you. So let me know all that and more. Please like and subscribe and share this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all again soon.